Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Dorian Show. I am your pilot, Dorian Trong, and welcome aboard the Hindenburg. We're going to enjoy a nice, smooth ride. It's going to be moving slow, but just relax. Just relax as we float through the air. This is my second episode, and I'm glad you guys are back here with me. And it took me a while to get started. For some reason, I misplaced my tripod. I have two tripods. I let my friend borrow one of them, and the other one, I have no idea where it went. It just disappeared. Anyway, if you guys are new to the show, I basically talk about a couple things. I always start the show off talking about some topic in finance that I'm interested in. And I basically talk about what's going on in my life for the rest of the time. And basically, I'm going to spend that time talking about being an open micer, doing stand-up comedy, doing MMA, and whatever else is happening in my life. So I don't know. The main reason I'm doing this podcast is to keep myself accountable, to keep doing these things that I said I was going to do. And I don't know if it will help whoever's out there listening to kind of stick to their goals as well. So anyway, today I'm going to talk about the uranium market, the uranium squeeze, and I'm going to follow that up with what happened this week doing stand-up. I basically bombed, and I stick to this jokes for like the whole week. And I'm going to tell you guys the story, and then I think I'm going to put in a promo video of some lady heckling me, so that'll be fun. All right. Oh, yeah, and before I get started, please subscribe wherever you're listening to this. The podcast is now available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and I think those are the main ones that people listen to. So make sure to subscribe. And I want feedback from this, so you guys can leave me comments on the YouTube channel. You can message me on Instagram or on Twitter. Okay. All right. Now, before I tell you guys how to make $1 billion, please know that this is not financial advice, okay? If you like to stay poor forever, then stay poor. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is something the internet has deemed the uranium squeeze. So let me set the background for you guys. So basically, in the U.S., nuclear energy, which is derived from uranium, makes up about 20% of our energy, our electricity in the U.S., and it makes about like 30% of the electricity in the world. And what's been going on is after Hiroshima, people got scared and they started moving away from uranium, moving away from nuclear energy, and stop mining for uranium. And therefore, a lot of these mining companies were cutting back on looking for new uranium, and they had a surplus. So for like the last 10 years, they've just been selling down their surplus instead of mining for more uranium. And then now we are at a point where a lot of people believe that the surplus of uranium that's like stored away is slowly like being depleted. So the price of uranium will be going up. And then the biggest thing here is it takes a long time for uranium mines to start running again. It takes about like 16 months for them to, operate. And during this time, there's going to be a squeeze on the price. And the reason why the uranium mines weren't running before is because companies weren't able to make a profit exploring and basically getting new uranium. I think uranium needs to be like in a price between $50 to $60 for most companies to make sense to reopen the mines. So currently, I think it's like $48 right now a pound for uranium. Okay. So I want to talk about why I think the price. So right now the price is about $48, and I think it's potentially going to be able to go up to like $250 a pound. And this has happened before, like 10 years ago, I think in like 2008, I think there was a shortage and the price of uranium jumped up. and all these mining stocks were able to jump up as well. And man, I got the cough, not the Rona though, so don't worry. Um, so yeah, the price of uranium right now is about $48, and I think it could go 5 times basically. And how you could invest in the market right now, there's two things that I'm investing in. There's the Sprott Uranium Trust. So basically, what they do is they just buy physical uranium from the market and they just store it forever. It's like someone buying gold, except we're buying uranium and they're never going to sell. So right now, I think the price is about $12.33 or $12.34, and that's about where I invested in. And that trust should basically follow the price of uranium. So whatever the uranium value is worth, like that's how much that stock or shares should be worth. If you like to like juice your returns, then you should probably look into some of the miners. Miners as in MINER, not MINOR. And yeah, the miners, because once they do all the upfront costs, meaning labor, exploration, R&D and all that crap, any additional pound of uranium is just pure profit. So they could basically, they're like a leveraged play of the uranium market. And the one that I'm into is Cameco, CCJ ticker. I think it's about like $25.93 right now. And I got in at like $24.18. So I think there's plenty of room for it to move, and it might be a good play. The thing is, I think the uranium market, like the bull market, might take a while for it to reach 250 pounds. It might be between a year to 2 years, and like I said, because it takes a long time for the mines to start up and run. And yeah, and I think this is a really good story because the nuclear energy is really hard to be replaced. Like, for some reason, all the renewables really hate them. The green energy hate them, but it turns out that windmills and solar panels aren't as reliable as you think, and there's no way you could replace the electricity that nuclear is providing right now with more windmills and solar. So what happens actually is like the price of coal and like natural gas has shot up because we need more energy and they don't know where to get it, so they go back to all these dirty sources. So actually, if you guys want to invest in like natural gas and coal, I think it might be a good time right now. I think prices are going up, but I don't know how that's gonna last. But I think the uranium play has some legs to it, and I really like the story. So I don't know. That's just what I'm invested in right now, like a good significant chunk of my portfolio. I want to say like probably like 10 to 15% of my portfolio is between these two stocks. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll lose my money, but maybe I'll like double, triple, quadruple my money. So all right, let's move on to open mics. So this week I said some crazy shit and I bombed, and it felt miraculous. It felt glorious, and I also did the same jokes throughout the whole week. Like I didn't stop after I bombed the first time. I was just like, no, I think I'm gonna do this 3 more times. So I did the same jokes 4 times, and it's funny. It's very funny how the bombing happened. Like the first day I did it was Monday. I went up there, I started out strong. There's a reaction from the crowd. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this. So I actually didn't think I did so bad. Because I know like it made the crowds like the crowd uncomfortable. But it wasn't like, I think a bomb is when people are like staring at you wide eyed and there's no reaction. Like right, I could feel like the discomfort in the people. So, and surprisingly, like I don't know, I kind of liked it. It's funny. I didn't even know I bombed like that bad until I got off stage. One of my friends was like, she was like, "Are you "Are you okay? How are you feel?" And I said, "I feel great." And she's like, "Oh no, you bombed. You bombed." And it's very weird how each audience like will receive a joke, cuz on Monday I guess I bombed even though it wasn't like dead silent. Like people were like, "Oh shit." Blah, blah. But then I did this jokes again on Tuesday, and when I looked at the tape, I actually think I did very well. And I don't know if it was the crowd that's being more nice and they were willing to laugh more, like give up laughs more, or they were like fake laughs or feeling bad for me. But I think I did very well. It was almost exactly the same joke, except I opened up with like a softer joke, making fun of myself, and maybe that like softened them up for me to say some crazier stuff right after. Um, so that was good. Um, yeah, and then I did it again on Wednesday. This one I feel like a bomb. This mic is just there's just the placement of it, the crowd. It's not really on your. They're not really on your side. They're not even listening. Like it's at a sports bar, and the open micer themselves is like a good, I don't know, like 10 feet away from the closest person, which is like really far distance, and then half the people are staring at TVs in there. So that one I thought I like completely bombed. However, like I when I got off, like 4 or 5 people came up to me like, "Dude, I love your set," blah blah blah. But then I was like, "Why didn't you guys laugh, man? I thought I was dying up there." Oh my gosh! Like I could really use the feedback while I'm doing the mic. I'm just pushing through and getting no response. Um, and then yesterday, so there was no mic on Thursday for me. I didn't go to one, and on Friday I went to another mic. Um, Surprisingly, there was like a high percentage of women were in that mic that day, and I told the joke, which I'll get into a little later. But basically, like it like died with them. Like it did not get a response from them. And my friend was telling me, like, from the women's perspective, like, it may have came off like misogynistic or something. And I'll go into it a little later. I want to talk about something else before I jump into that. But it wasn't misogynistic at all, except I think when they first heard it, like that's all they could hear. Like my friend couldn't even hear my punchline. So yeah, I'll talk about that a little later. But I think I'm gonna put a promo in this. If you guys probably saw the promo, if you guys saw this on Instagram, there was a lady heckling me on Monday, and basically it's because she didn't like the jokes. And then I mean that I was starting with my first two jokes to kind of be like kind of hard hitting, kind of have a bite to it, and then it is part of my. And then my third joke is like, oh, it's very hard for me to date. Like it's there's a reason why I said it like that. It's because I said these crazy things. And she basically fell right for it. She was just like, oh, I wonder why. um, it's just so funny. Like I don't know. I mean, my jokes aren't the greatest, but they were. I think people were afraid to laugh, or they felt like they were not allowed to laugh. I think it's weird when there are certain subjects, I believe, that are just so offensive. You know what I mean? I think subjects shouldn't be offensive. It's like a subject would be like, of a joke could be like Asian people. Asians shouldn't be offensive. Talking about Asians shouldn't be offensive. I wasn't talking about Asians, by the way. But you know what I mean? I think you could be offended by like what the statement is surrounding it, but there are keywords that just make people like clam up, their butt cheeks just like, what I mean, just shrink, just close the gap when they hear certain keywords and they can't even listen to the joke. And I mean, and that's why I feel like that kind of bombing is different, because they were just uncomfortable and I could feel that they were uncomfortable. And to me, that is so funny. But yeah, like I said, Tuesday I did the exact same jokes. I mean, I switched my first joke out, did something to kind of ease them in, and they were laughing. Like, yeah, they were laughing, and I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think that in that case, I mean, it's probably half the crowd and half is me switching the jokes around. Okay, and then on Wednesday, yeah, I thought I bombed. And apparently there's like two guys that were filming me, and that fucking pissed me off. I mean, that should be etiquette. Like, you should never film anybody, not just like people that are performing. Like, don't film anybody. No one likes to be filmed. Like, I'm not saying these fools are trying to like cancel me or trying to steal my jokes or anything, but like, just don't do it. Like, why? Why do you have to like film other people? Like, I hate everybody that does that. You know what I mean? Even though like I know we've been celebrating people canceling Karens by filming them, but guess what? Like, the person who films a Karen, they're a Karen themselves. Like, there are no good people when you're filming people. Everybody is in the wrong. Everybody's an asshole when you're trying to film someone. But yeah, and I think the worst part is because I didn't know these guys were filming me. Like, I found out afterwards, and I'm like, they were already gone, man. Like I'd rather not perform my set if I knew someone was filming me. It's just so foul, you know. Um, but yeah, anyway, so let's talk about Friday, and this is a very interesting discussion I had with my friend after the mic. She was so basically I told him I told him an abortion joke, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm not anti-abortion. I just want to make that clear. Like, I'm not anti-abortion. I think, you know, if you need an abortion, you should definitely get one. But my joke is basically saying like the topic of abortion has become so black and white. It's very extreme, right? You only could. It seems to me you can only be on the two extremes. You know what I mean? There's no nuance in the discussion. Like, you're either they're baby killers, right? They're murderers. This should be illegal. They should go to jail. They should get sued. And then the other side is kind of like, oh yeah, then getting an abortion is kind of like going to a free yoga class at the park on a Saturday. You know, it kind of trivializes it. And my joke is basically saying like it's not that. Like, it's not that at all. It's somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? It's not like the most evil thing in the world, and it's also something that shouldn't be taken lightly, which I think most people agree. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there are people that are like protesting against abortions and stuff like that. They know someone, or they themselves probably had to get an abortion, you know, and they had to like deal with that, knowing like this is like a life changing thing. Even though they say they're against abortion, like, they ended up getting it. And there are people that make it sound like it's like nothing. It's like going to Starbucks getting a coffee. And I think on that side, like, some of these people have gotten abortions also, and it was probably impacted them a little bit um, more than they thought. And so my joke was basically saying like, it's nuanced. Like, you shouldn't do it all the time. Basically, it's like in the middle. Like, just do it if you have to. And the whole point of me telling you this story is like, on Friday, it's a small room. It's maybe like 15 people, but for some reason on that day, like half of the people there were women, and I just ate shit. Like, that did not land well. And then afterwards, I was hanging out with one of the comedians, the open micers that I met there, um, and we were having drinks, and we were talking about the set, and she basically told me that she was like, yeah, like the joke's kind of like misogynistic, and it sounds like you're anti-abortion. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And I was like, my whole punchline is basically saying I'm not anti-abortion. Is that we just shouldn't take it lightly. We shouldn't do it all the time. And then I went over the joke with her again, and she was able to laugh. And she said that she didn't even hear that part. You know what I mean? And I think that goes back to like the lady or the people in the first day. Like, there are certain subjects that just gets people to clam up, and I'm like trying to think about like people should just relax a little. But at the end of the day, it's on the person saying the joke to make things funny. Like, I can't blame it on the crowd. You know, so I'm thinking about, like, back to the abortion joke. I'm like thinking about other ways to kind of lead people to like the punchline. Like, I need to make it so obvious that they can't like completely shut it out, and that I think that's on me as a joke teller, to figure it out. But yeah, that was a really good conversation about writing jokes and like how to deliver jokes you want to say that might be controversial. Um, like I'm totally fine if people don't like my stuff, but they heard it. But I guess they weren't even able to hear my joke. It was just like they just couldn't. By the way I delivered it, so that's all on me. I'm gonna try to figure out how to. I'm not giving up on that abortion joke. That joke will live on. Oh man, pun not intended. But yeah, I'm not gonna abort that joke. Get it? I'm gonna try to work on it and make some ladies laugh, I guess, with it. But yeah, that was very interesting topic, and I'm glad like she was able to share that to me openly, because I would just think like either my joke sucked or people aren't willing to laugh at certain things anymore. But I guess it's something different. Like they weren't even able to hear the joke because like the words or the topic is so triggering. So I need to like kind of, I don't know. And a 5 minute set is really hard to like gain someone's trust for them to be, all right, we're gonna go on this crazy ride with you. And I guess that's why I'm an open micer and not getting paid for this. I'm just losing tons of money to doing this. But yeah. So far, it's really hard for me to want to even keep doing this sometimes. It's very weird. Like, people talk to me. They're like, hey, why do you want to do comedy? Why do you want to do open mic? Do you want to become famous? You want to be like big star? Like, be a big star? Like, I don't know, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, etc., etc. And for me, it's like, I guess it would be nice, but I know it's a kind of a pipe dream at this point. I kind of just want to do things that I want to do, and comedy is one of them. And also taking MMA classes. But I think the biggest thing for me is to learn discipline. It's just very hard for me to keep myself accountable. Like I said, I think I talked about this last week, where if no one is telling me or forcing me to do it, no one's forcing me to do open mic, no one's forcing me to go to the gym. It makes it very easy for me to just not do it. So I think it's two parts. Is one part is like I'm doing something that I've always been interested in, and then the second part is to kind of prove to myself that I can stick with something and be accountable for it. So in terms of comedy and open mics, like that's my first layer goal is like the bottom. Excuse me. The bottom layer is just to go to open mics. And I'm also pushing myself a step forward to, excuse me, I'm gassy. The second layer is for me to, get better. And one way to get better is kind of hit small goals. Like I'm trying to maybe get on like a few shows. Most of these shows are free, they're donations only. But that's like the next level, right? To get booked into a show where there's only like 5 comics instead of like just dying on stage in a night where like 30 people just bomb in a row, So yeah, those are things that I'm going to work towards. And I think this podcast keeps me accountable because I need to talk about it. I'm going to be really embarrassing about it. Oh yeah, I just didn't go for the past 4 weeks, but here I am. Speaking of dedication, like my MMA gym is very eye-opening to me. I'm definitely the worst. I'm like the worst, like quote unquote fighter in the gym. Like I have bad habits. In boxing and Muay Thai, I can't really kick Can't really punch. I don't have a good stance. Everything. Like, I'm just terrible. And I understand, like, it takes time. But it's also like the dedication. Like, I talked to this one guy. He's 31. I'm 33, by the way. So my goal for this is just do it for a year, and basically learn how to do a head kick. Like, I'm not that flexible yet, but my goal is so basic. I just want to be able to kick someone in the head. If I ever have to do it, I'm not condoning violence, but I'm saying if I can kick someone in the head, that's like my goal. If I walk away from the gym able to do a head kick, I would be so happy. So anyway, there's this guy that's 31 years old, and that's only like 2 years younger than me. And this guy wants to become a pro fighter. And that's when I know I see the difference between the two of us. Like, this guy's taking it extremely seriously. You know, I've rolled with him in jiu-jitsu this week, and I've been there maybe like a month. He's been there maybe 2 months. And he's beating me. He's 60 pounds lighter than me. He almost broke my fucking arm off, man. Put me in an arm bar. I didn't even see it coming. And we're just different, you know. And it's also nice to see that he's doing it at age 31. Like, he's not letting his age stop him. You know, it's probably like a really bad time to get into competitive fighting at age 31, but good for him. He knows that's what he wants. And then I feel like I feel kind of bad about myself, because clearly I'm not putting as much effort as this guy and probably other people. I mean, I am trying to put effort in. Like, I go there, I try to listen to the coach. He'll be like, back straight, move your feet, stay on your toes, widen your stance, close your stance, blah, blah, blah. I try to listen. But yeah, I'm probably not putting the effort I need, or I should be, you know? And that's hard. It's hard it's very hard for someone to push you to do something uncomfortable when you're paying their ass. You know what I mean? Like, when I was playing basketball in high school, like, I worked my ass off to at least get on the team. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I need to, basically, out of a lot of these people, I don't know, I think my high school team took maybe 13 people. And I tried out sophomore year, and I'm like, okay, there's already people that already made the team, right? So they're only going to take so many new players. So I ran my ass off during tryouts. I probably never ran that hard in my life. You know, doing suicides. You know, I never focused so much in making free throws. I'm like, I have to basically be on my best to even get a shot at like the last spot in the team. And that was my mentality back then. You know, and this is different. It's a different circumstance when now I'm an adult. I'm paying them. I'm paying these guys, like, these trained killers, a ton of money. You know what I mean? And they want me to stay. Basically, they're running a business. They want me to stay, and they're like working hard to give me good training. I'm not saying it's not like a cardio boxing class. Like, they want to teach people how to fight correctly, you know, and I really appreciate that. But you know, and I really gotta turn up my intensity and my focus, you know, give more effort. And yeah, now that I say that, I have to do it. So one thing that was super funny, I always I'm able to get myself into positions where I make myself look like a fool. So one of these days, after like an MMA class, the trainer, this fool's in the UFC, or he was in the UFC. He fought for a bunch of promotions. He's legit. He's had bouts in other promotions. And then, like, yeah, after her training, he was just like, all right, I'm gonna have some like hard sparring. And he got a couple pro fighters to do their training, and everybody's like sitting around the mat, like just staring intensely at these like pro fighters, like showing us what it looked like to spar as a pro fighter. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and get myself like a good seat. The gym had this like makeshift bench. I guess put like your sandals and your water bottles on it, and it was empty. And my dumbass decided to to sit on it. This is while like two pros were fighting in the middle of the mat. Everybody's looking intently around, sitting around, just paying attention to fighter. And all of a sudden you hear this like huge explosion. And it was like a piece of like wood just shattering under my ass. So yeah, I made a fool. Everyone knew it was me. It was like the fat guy who broke the bench. Oh man, everybody was cool about it though. It was just kind of funny. It was dumb. Like I knew I shouldn't have sat on that bench. It wasn't like a real bench. Like someone just took a couple of like recycled scrap wood and put it together and I decided to sit on it. But yeah, what else I have here? Let's see. All right. As you guys all know, I'm trying to lose some weight. Part of it so it won't be as embarrassing when I'm getting my ass beat at the gym, but also overall health. And I want to tell you guys my update every week to keep myself accountable. But guess what? I gained a pound since last week. I was 217 last time, and now I'm 218. And that is super embarrassing. And I know exactly why I gained the weight. I've been eating reckless, you know. I'm trying to do one meal a day, but clearly that's not been happening. I've been snacking on crackers, nuts, and salami. You know what I mean? And just eating a bunch. I know what it takes to lose weight because I lost the weight before. But yeah, this is embarrassing. I can't just keep gaining weight every week. Just want to keep you guys updated. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to lose some pounds next week when I check in with you guys. All right. What do I want to talk about next? I guess the next thing I want to talk about that's just recently been in my head is I can't seem to get away from noisy ass neighbors. Like when I owned my place before, holy fuck, dude. People upstairs were noisy. People downstairs were noisy. Like it was just, they played music so loud that my bed would shake in the middle of the night. And I tried talking to them. I tried talking to them multiple times. And at a certain point, you're like, fuck it, dude. Call the police. Sometimes the police are the answer, man. I hate to say it. It's a Karen, I guess you could call me. Like sometimes the police are the only one that could get them to shut the fuck up, But anyway, even like I moved out of that place, right? I'm living somewhere else now, and same fucking thing. Like the neighbors next door are like so loud. My whole house is shaking, right? My whole place is shaking. And I just want to do like a public service announcement right now. Anybody out there listening, if you're ever playing music and you're not Steve Aoki at Las Vegas throwing cake at people's faces, just know that you are the only one enjoying that music, right? If you're enjoying that music, there are 0 other people that could hear it that's also enjoying it. I just want to tell you that. No matter if you're in your home blasting your music or you're that person that likes to share his tunes in the office, there's exactly 0 people wanting to hear that shit, okay? Just letting you know. But guess what? 100% of those people are hoping that you're secretly harboring terrorists in your home. Okay, 100% of them are. So the U.S. could do God's work and drone the shit out of you. 100% of the people want that. Just let you know, if you ever decide to blast your music, that 0 people are enjoying it, but 100% of them want you to be droned. Okay? That's it. That's my public service announcement for everyone. Just be a little bit more considerate, all right? No one ever wants to hear your music, no matter how good you think your tastes are. Okay, just pop in your earbuds, pop in your headphones, and like leave the world alone. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, the NBA season has started. And last week I was talking about my only 2 favorite players right now is Jordan Clarkson and LaMelo Ball. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna give you guys. How many do I want to give you guys? Let's see. I'm gonna give you guys four players to watch this year. Okay, and these are the four players that maybe you might not, maybe you not like think would be the most exciting players, but they are. And these players are number one, LaMelo Ball. Out of this whole group, like he has a chance to become like a superstar. Like I think he could be as good, he could be as impactful as like a Steph Curry, a LeBron, and people think that might be crazy, but this kid is talented. He's a funny dude. You should follow him. The other player I'm gonna keep an eye on is Lou Williams. This might just be his last year. Like this guy is the most underappreciated player in the world. I'm not even sure who he's playing for right now. Maybe the Clippers. He's won Sixth Man of the Year recently, multiple times. And he's never been paid more than he's never made $10 million a year. He's just been underpaid, man. Like, this guy could score. He could put points on the board. You know what I mean? So he's one of my favorite players right now. And also he has like for a while he had 2 girlfriends, and that was crazy. And so one of the rappers like busted him out. They made a song about him having 2 girlfriends. Really ruined the vibe for him. And of course it's Jordan Clarkson, half Filipino. Shout out. I'm not Filipino, but Asian. That we gotta take what we could get. He's great, dude. He has personality outside of the court. He's probably like a fashionable, like more forward. He's kind of like a Nick Young kind of guy. And finally, there's Dame Lillard. I feel like Dame Lillard is, how do I say this? Like he's okay. If he was a rapper, which he is, but he's really a basketball player. But I'm saying he's like one of those rappers that came from the streets, and they're like, I'm still about that. I still have love for the streets. And I feel the same way about Damian Lillard. Like he's the only one player that has not asked for a trade or try to get a super team so far. He keeps re-signing back to Portland, and he doesn't really complain about anything about the roster. I think he wants to retire in Portland, and that's something very respectable. I really hope he does win at least one ring, but honestly, his team doesn't have the talent to do it. And he's a player I feel like is like for the people, for the fans. One game last year, I think he had a season high, maybe scored like 60 something, maybe 80 something. And like to give back to the fans, like for like 24 hours, he dropped the price of his shoe to like 60 something to celebrate that record. And that's something that's so cool. Like Michael Jordan never did that, He would never lower the price of his basketball shoe. And I get it that Dame is not Michael Jordan level. His shoes are already cheaper than most people's, but it's respectable, Dame is about the people. He's a people's champ. That's what I'm gonna call him from now on, the people's champ. Anyway, thank you guys for coming back to listen. Everybody that made it this far, I love you. And yeah, I don't know where you guys are listening to this, on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts. It's on all platforms. All right. So if you don't want to watch me, you don't want to watch my ugly face on YouTube, you can listen to me during work or during your drive to work. But yeah, I want you guys to give me some feedback. Apparently last week it was super depressing. My life, that's just my life, Sometimes it can be very depressing. And also I heard the audio was trash. And I don't think it's the mic. Maybe it's the settings on the mixer. I'm not going to lie. I really don't know how to use the mixer. I just twist and push and hope for the best. My friend gave me a quick tip, so I hope it sounds a lot better this week. Or it could be because the mic's ruined. I let my brother borrow it, and I'm sure his cat's been humping it. So, but yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming out. Please leave a comment, a question, whatever you want me to talk about or comment on. May it be like finance, stand-up, MMA, my MMA. And I don't know. Anything you guys want, leave a comment. Message me on Instagram and Twitter. All right. Love you all. Peace.